Awakening is a divine accident. You know, we can't force this. We can't artificially will this into existence or into being. That's not how it works. Like, I've tried it. I've just been breaking my head over certain disciplines, but it never gifted any sort of sincere insight. And this can only be the case because you're going off of a basis of knowing something already. You think, okay, I know meditation and breathwork and Kundalini yoga and psychedelic ceremonies result in awakening, therefore I will get awake. I will wake up. That's really not how it works. It's sort of it's an accident. It's really an accident, but at the same time, we can actually position ourselves so that this accident can happen easier, aka the ceremonies, the Kundalini yoga, the breath work. These are all methods, but they are not absolute fundamental ways to achieve it, to get it, and to always have it, to own it. I do this so I get that. It's not conditional in that sense. It isn't. Because it is the divine, it is beyond us, it is non-dual, it is all of these things, it is life, it is death, it is the universe, it is nothing, it's everything. We cannot, as our human selves, we cannot fathom how that is supposed to work. I remember yesterday I was alone for the first time in a very long time. And I sat outside my porch, I was smoking, and there was just this crushing serenity as I looked up to the smoke that went up to the light. This serenity, this outpouring of just peace. It was almost cathartic, and it was tough to sit in it, actually, because it was so chill, so surrendered, so almost sober, even though it was smoking hash. Right? It was so peculiarly humbling. And there I was, just floating in everything for a second. Now, of course, you fluctuate, that fades again, but don't worry, you'll get it back. It just appears to be hiding itself. The more stuck you are, the less awake you are. But at some point, man, it's going to be, and this isn't putting a belief in the future. This is now. But at the same time, there's karma, there are ways, there are habits, lower tendencies. It's a karmic process. We can't force this process. We can't push this to a degree that it's not meant to go for your life. I can't just be like, okay, now I'm going to become an ascetic and I'm not going to eat anything, and I'm not going to masturbate. I'm not going to even sexually entertain anything. I'm not going to relieve myself in any way. It won't work for me. I would literally turn into a monster, probably. Does that mean you're less awake? I don't think so. Honestly, I just think there's certain karmic experiences that are bonded in your being that you need to work through by actually going out and experiencing these things. Regardless, back to the topic of the video, because I'm getting a little bit straight off. We can position ourselves for an accident to happen. So if we walk on a ledge of a building, of a tall building, and we carry some buckets on our fucking neck, there's a chance that we might slip and fall, because we already put ourselves in that position. Same goes with ceremonies, meditation, yoga, psychedelic ceremony, these things. You're putting yourself in the position for it. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen. That's the mind making the jump, being like, oh, I do this, I get that. No, it's not it. It's more spontaneous than that. It's more sincere than that, So it is an accident. It's a divine accident. It is beyond our comprehension of, logic and duality. So we can just be here. We can just be here, experience what we need to experience, go through our karmas, go through our debaucherous tendencies as well, experience them, and still end up waking up in the end. We can still be stuck in shit and in grime, and still God will find you. Still universal awakening happens. We cannot We cannot really, we think we have a lot of control, but we really don't. That's really the conclusion of awakening in general. Like all the self will just kind of just goes away. Even though you're this person and you have to take these responsibilities and all these things that come with it, still, when it actually happens, it's just, I was never here, you know? Don't get stuck in that though. That can be a trap, which will actually make you lose it. So anyway, that was it for me. Sorry for not uploading for a minute. I'll try to upload a little bit more consistently, but yeah, bless. Appreciate you guys, and wow.